Today, I have in what I think is the coolest chronograph that you can buy right now. There's nothing else out there quite like it on the market. The watch is the Moonshot from Isotope Watches. This is the Terra Maris version of the watch. And when I saw the prototype of this about a year ago, I was blown away. It takes things to a whole other level with the brand, with Isotope, and really glad to finally get some quality time with it and to share it with you. So let's get to it and check out the watch. All right. Now, I've spoken to and spent a lot of time with Jose from Isotope. He's, first of all, a fun guy to hang out with, great sense of humor, but some of the most interesting conversations revolve around how he works when it comes to design. Even when most would think a design is complete, he leaves no stone unturned and will happily take away something that isn't quite right or add something you'd never normally think to add to get it just right. If you listen to our Time to Calibrate podcast, we recently had Jose on, and he specifically talks about the design of the Moonshot. So if you want to hear it straight from him, definitely check it out. Currently, my favorite watch in my collection is the Mercury Shadow, and I plan to someday own this. I think that would be a great 1-2 punch of Isotope watches to have in the watch box. It's just such an awesome watch. I think maybe the chunkiness of it won't make it perfect for everyone, but at the same time, this is made with grade 5 titanium, so it's lightweight and wears comfortably. There's a lot to take in here, but the design is inspired by the graphic novel, The Inkle. Check the podcast because Jose gets specifically into that there. I love the color combination, which co-designer Miguel Sebra takes from browns and blues seen at the Cascade coastline where he's from. So let's get in for a closer look at this beautiful dial here, and the colors are so good. There's so much depth to the dial too. I will fire up the chronograph here and love those larger pushers. I'll actually tell you a little secret about those here soon, but when it comes to the subdials, this is a first where only the information that's needed for what your timing is available to see. Functional, but just a cool idea, and in the end, a neat look. Over at the 3 o'clock is the minutes for the chronograph function. Down at the 6 is hours, up to 12 hours, and at the 9 o'clock is the running seconds. Up at the 12 is the Isotope logo, the lacrima, and below that is Moonshot Chronograph. The only other text on the dial itself is automatic, just above the 6 o'clock subdial. Love how the subdials are framed in a turbine-style outer edge, and then the dial itself is also framed with the turbine chapter ring. Above that is the raised, partially floating tachometer with small hour markers that jut out. The more you look at the watch, the more details you discover. Let's stop, and then we will reset the chronograph here, and back to those lacrima-shaped pushers here for a second. Jose likes to hide little Easter eggs in his watches. Some are obvious, like the use of the lacrima shape throughout his watches. Others, less so. On the back of the pushers, there's a tiny engraving you likely won't spot unless you look through a loop or a macro lens. The start-stop button has the play-pause symbol, and the reset button has a rewind symbol. How creative is that? And it's those little things that makes a watch like this so special. Back to the dial here for a minute, and the hands are large and legible. Where the second hand meets the hand stack, it has this shape that I believe is connected to the Inkle, the graphic novel. Again, it's all about those little details. The Lume is X1 grade Super Luminova, good solid Lume, so just as legible at night as it is in daylight. The case is made with sand-blasted grade 5 titanium and then finished with a DLC coating. Such a unique tooly design. On the 9 o'clock side, there's an indentation in the case, and the way it's designed, even though it's a larger watch, it sits great on wrist. The case back is screwed to the case, And through the display case back is either the Valjoux 7753 or a Swiss Landeron 73 movement. Although, from what I understand, moving forward, these will mostly come out with the Valjoux. The watch comes with both the titanium bracelet and an FKM rubber strap. The bracelet is really well constructed with quick release spring bars, and the links are sized with screws. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to make them out there, but the screws are much larger than usual. And the actual screw itself is just as thick as the screw head, so it shouldn't have an issue with them ever failing on you. The clasp is a signed deployant clasp, and really the only negative for me is no micro adjusts. Love the bracelet though still, and just as much I really like it on the rubber too. So let's swap over to that here quick. And here's a look on the rubber, and the rubber strap to me looks even cooler than the bracelet. It really helps to accentuate the blue subdial discs. It's a cut to size strap and has a similar deployant clasp as the bracelet. The fit against the case is top notch, and it's very comfortable on wrist. Size on the watch comes in at a case width of 41 millimeters, although with the pushers and crown, it wears a little larger than that, I find. The lug to lug is pretty well right at 49 millimeters. Lug opening is 20, and the thickness is 14.8 millimeters. The crystal is sapphire with an anti-reflective coating, and the water resistance is 100 meters. And here it is on my 7¼ inch wrist. And yeah, this is so me. This is a watch I'd absolutely love to own someday. And I stand by what I said earlier that at least for me, this is the coolest chronograph you can buy right now. Cost for the watch is $36.39 USD. And I'll leave a link in the description below where you can find these. Really appreciate you taking a few minutes to stop by, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.